We're getting some personnel news out of the White House and the president. Let's get to Eamon Javers in D.C. Morning, Eamon.
Yeah, good morning to you, Carl. This is dramatic and I think you can say unexpected news from the President of the United States this morning, who announces on social media that he is going to place Bill Pulte, the head of Freddie and Fannie, as the acting director of national intelligence. This post just crossing over the past few moments. He says, I am appointing the director of Federal Housing and Finance Agency and chairman of Fannie Mae Freddie Mac, William J. Pulte, to serve as acting director of national intelligence. William has deep experience managing the most sensitive matters in America, the safety and soundness of the markets, and over $10 trillion at Fannie Mae Freddie Mac, a substantial increase from where it was just 12 months ago. During this period, he will remain director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency and chairman of Fannie Mae Freddie Mac. Congratulations to Director Pulte. So, guys, this is sort of unprecedented to have a director of national intelligence now, at least in an acting capacity, who is also the head of Fannie Mae, who is also the head of Freddie Mac, and who is also the director of the FHFA. That's a lot of hats for any one individual to wear. And of course, national intelligence directors generally have not been recruited out of the housing sector. So this is something that we really haven't seen before. But Bill Pulte is well known to President Trump as a real loyalist, somebody who is willing to take on the aggressive fights politically that the president wants, including the fight against Jerome Powell. You remember that Pulte was one of the leading voices in pushing that investigation into the construction of the new Fed headquarters. He's one of the leading antagonists of Jay Powell among the president's administration, and somebody that the president has come to rely on for investigations like that to produce results that he wants politically. So one of the big questions over this is, what does it mean for U.S. intelligence and the independence of U.S. intelligence, given that you have somebody who's so closely politically aligned now with the President of the United States running U.S. intelligence, obviously replacing Tulsi Gabbard, who stepped down recently because of an illness involving her husband. Now you have somebody who's got multiple hats, running multiple enormous fiefdoms, and also running U.S. intelligence. Guys, back over to you.
Some argue you could draw a line from the acting AG, the president's personal lawyer, who now runs justice, and maybe this is a piece of that. Meantime, Eamon, the Times this morning picks up on your interview from yesterday, in which the president told you that negotiations with Iran are, quote, very boring.
Yeah. That's right. I called the president yesterday about 12:15 because we had this report early in the day that the Iranians were breaking off negotiations with the United States, and that sent the price of oil skyrocketing. We needed to confirm whether that was true or not. The president said, he told me, he hadn't heard from the Iranians that they were breaking off negotiations, but if they were, he said he didn't care. He said it ultimately didn't matter to him. He thought the negotiations had gone on too long. The Iranians, he said, were tapping us along, that is stringing the U.S. along. And he said that the negotiations he found to be very boring. Later in the day, after my interview with him, the president posted on social media that the negotiations are ongoing. Now, I have not seen any confirmation of that from the Iranian side, so it takes two to negotiate, so we'll see what we get throughout the day today in terms of confirmation. Obviously, oil markets hanging on that, stock market hanging on that. There's a lot on the line with those negotiations globally, so we'll see where they say. It's a murky picture right now, and we'll see if we can get any more clarity on it.
Eamon, thanks. Eamon Javers in D.C.
Maybe we need a good housing guy in intelligence. I hadn't thought of it.
Wait, what?
Maybe we need a good guy, a housing guy in intelligence.
You mean in the same guy?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's original.